displaying the glory of God's creation by exploring America one park at a time. Welcome to Parking Full Time with Big Dave, the park's professor. 10th hole. The par and distance are at the top of the screen. This hole has some large trees guarding tightly either side of the fairway, but really it's a completely flat, completely straight, and fairly boring hole. This course has an interesting mix of rather interesting long holes and rather pedestrian short holes, and unfortunately this hole falls into the second category. I want to welcome you back to Parking Full Time. I am Big Dave, the park's professor. There's the 10th basket, and there's the view back to the tee from behind the basket. The 11th hole is the longest hole on this course, and it's also the most famous hole on this course. It plays down and up across a fairly steep ravine, and there is a marsh and wildgrass area down at the bottom of the ravine. For your tee shot, you want to aim at this window of marsh that you see directly ahead at the bottom of the hill. There are plenty of large trees on either side of the fairway to deflect your tee shot if you miss your line, but it's about 500 feet from the back tee to the start of the marsh. So you're not going to be able to clear the marsh with your tee shot regardless, even though it's very downhill on the tee shot. And you're going to have to decide, based on how your tee shot goes, whether you want to try to clear the marsh with your second shot or lay up. We're coming up to the marsh, and we're going to jump across the marsh and then walk up to the rest of the hole. You could definitely lose a disc if you throw it into that marsh. Across the marsh, the hole doglegs to the left and heads steeply uphill to the basket. There are some more large trees guarding the basket, and the thought occurred to me as I was walking and playing this hole that even a good disc golfer could easily make any number between eagle and double bogey on this hole. We're finally coming in sight of the basket now. You don't see many true par 5s like this one, especially on this type of recreational parkland course, and this is truly a fantastic disc golf hole. There's the basket and the view back across the ravine to the tee. The 12th hole plays gradually downhill across this wildgrass area. You can't see the basket from the tee due to the hill and due to the wildgrass, but it's behind this small tree you see off to the right, and it's about 20 feet to the right of the path we just walked through the wildgrass. So I recommend starting your disc on that path and then working it a little bit left to right. That should get you basically right on top of the basket. You can see a couple of other trees up here around the basket. Also, that park road behind the basket is out of bounds, so you don't want to miss long. There's the view back to the tee. The 13th hole is another long and interesting hole. The tee is located in this dense smattering of trees, and a thought occurred to me that if these trees were trimmed back or maybe a couple of these trees eliminated, you would have more options in terms of shot shape for your tee shot. As it is, you basically have to throw your disc low and straight, and that's pretty much the only choice that you get. Once you get out of this first smattering of trees, you reach the fairway. And the fairway is very wide, but you don't want to be lulled into a false sense of security, because there's another dense smattering of trees up ahead between you and the basket. Let me say a word about the tees. The tee pads on this course are nice concrete tee pads, and most holes have two of them. Those are the two distances I'm giving you at the top of the screen. All of these video clips start at the back tee, and therefore we are going to see the full 564 feet on this hole. We're coming up on the second set of trees now. It's a little tight, and there's definitely some overhanging limbs, but unlike the tee shot, there's definitely enough room in the fairway to be able to work a disc. We are at Thompson Park. We are in Jamesburg, New Jersey, and therefore we are in central New Jersey between New York City and Trenton. The 14th hole plays gradually back uphill. There is this heavy smattering of trees directly between the tee and the basket, and so you have to decide how you're going to deal with those trees. There is a direct line, but the direct line, you're going to have to keep your disc really low, and you're going to have to hit a reasonably tight gap between a couple of trees. Alternatively, there is another line out to the right, but that line is going to require a sweeping right-to-left disc flight. So you have to pick a line, choose a shot, and then execute a throw. Honestly, this is one of this course's better short holes. There's the view back down to the tee. The 15th tee is located a couple hundred feet behind the 14th basket and across the park road. In general, course navigation and flow isn't really an issue on this course, but there were a couple of times when the U-Disc map really came in handy, and this is one of them. The 15th hole is another long hole. It plays gradually downhill through a dense smattering of trees, and this set of trees is dense enough that getting a disc through here is a real challenge. The park road off to the right is out of bounds for safety reasons, and so you can't go that way. Honestly, like a couple of other holes, I would like this hole better if some of these trees were removed to open up some additional lines of play. I captured this video on Monday, September the 8th, and it was a beautiful afternoon with temperatures in the low 70s when I came here. This is a popular park, and I saw a large number of walkers and joggers and dog walkers here when I came here, but I only saw a couple of other people on the disc golf course. There were several times when I had to wait for traffic to clear before I could throw. There's the 15th basket, and there's the view back uphill to the tee. The next two holes are the last two short holes on this course. The 16th hole plays moderately uphill. It's somewhat tight with trees guarding either side of the fairway, and those overhanging tree limbs create a low ceiling. But this hole is short enough and straight enough that a good throw will set up a birdie opportunity. I do want to thank you for watching. Parking full time would not be anything without the people who watch. I realize that every day, and I thank you every day. There's the 16th basket and the view back downhill to the tee. The 17th hole continues heading up the hill, and this is the only hole on this course with a serious safety hazard. There's a heavily used park road that crosses the fairway about 200 feet from the back tee. And there are a lot of cars and also walkers and joggers that use that road, and it's far enough from the back tee that you can't easily check for traffic before you throw. The thought occurred to me that you could eliminate that safety hazard by cutting the 15th hole into two shorter holes, and then combining the 16th and first part of the 17th hole into one longer hole. The 18th hole is the final hole on this course. It's another long hole, it's a gradual dogleg right, and it plays gradually downhill. The fairway is wider than on many of the other long holes on this course, and therefore this is a pretty gentle long hole to finish. Overall, I do really like this course. This course has one of the best collections of long holes that I've seen on any course that I've reviewed. Some of the short holes are a little bit pedestrian, but there are also some pretty good short holes as well. It's definitely worth playing this course if you're in the area, and this course frequently ranks as one of the top 5 courses in the state of New Jersey. I also want to remind you that I took a vow many years ago not to take any monetary compensation for anything I do for this project, and I have held to that vow. And so the only thing I get for making these videos and writing these course reviews are your likes, your subscribes, your views, and your comments, and I do appreciate all of those things. There's the view from behind the basket back up to the 18th tee. That is the end of the course. Thank you for watching. Have a great afternoon. Take care, and Lord bless.